it's Michelle. Welcome to Michelle's Southern Home Cooking. I'm home. It's a rainy Saturday afternoon, and I'm going to make my husband and I some shrimp and grits. First of all, what I have done is got a half a cup of quick cook grits. These are not instant grits. They do not go in the microwave. These are quick cook grits. And it says 5 minutes, but it takes longer to get them softer. If you like them 5 minutes, you do them 5 minutes, but I like them a little softer than that. Now, in this pot, I have 1 cup of chicken stock and 1 cup of water. And I brought that to a boil, and now I'm bringing it down to about slow medium, level 4 on my thing, and I'm going to whisk in those half a cup of grits into that 2 cups of liquid, which was 1 cup of chicken stock and 1 cup of water. And I'm just going to let them cook. And you're going to say, Michelle, that's way too much liquid. Well, maybe so. We'll see. I like my grits cooked a long time, and you'll keep having to add water to it. But at any rate, I am going to cover this catty-cornered so they'll cook a little bit. And I'm just going to use this particular pot. Doesn't have a lid. It's one of those cast iron enameled pans that I got from somewhere. I can't remember. But I'm just going to put a regular lid on it, kind of catty-cornered like that, so it'll kind of cook. And while that's cooking, okay, with the shrimp and grits, and first of all, I want to remind you, my recipes are always in the little down arrow. To the right of the bottom screen, there's a little down arrow. If you'll click that, the recipe, full recipe will be right there if you don't want to write down what I tell you. Also, this is just enough for me and my husband. If you think you're cooking for 4 people, you want to double it. If y'all eat a lot, y'all can double it. Or if you're cooking for some, a good crowd, you can double it. But I would try it probably just with my recipe, just to make sure you like it first. And with anything you cook with me, you can tweak it to what you like and what you don't like. It's fine with me. I have a large skillet that I have just heated up. And what we're going to do is to slow cook some bacon. I've got about a half a cup of bacon that I just sliced off the fatty end. And we're going to put that in this pan and slowly render it out. The slowness of it actually helps the fat to melt and to render, because that's what we want, that delicious fat. And we want to crisp up that bacon to use as a garnish at the end. And I'm using a fairly large frying pan to increase my surface area to hopefully cook a little quicker than in a smaller pan. If you've got a smaller pan, that's fine. It just might take just a little bit longer to cook. Now I've got this on medium heat, slam medium, level 5. And I'm going to let that do its thing while I talk to you about the rest of the recipe. Shrimp and grits. In eastern North Carolina, honestly, I had never heard of them until about 10 years ago. And I understand they started down in South Carolina. Well, a lot of times you don't get out very much if you're not real wealthy in the South. And even though South Carolina is a good little ways, it's about 6 hours, I guess, to Charleston from my house. 5.5, 6 hours. But I love Charleston. I love Savannah. I would go like that. If Randy said, come on, Michelle, let's go to Savannah. Let's go to Charleston. I'd go to either one. You know my hero is in Savannah. Miss Paula, God bless her. But at any rate, so this bacon is cubed, and it's going to slowly render. And it's about a half a cup. Let's see, I've got, when I cook, I just cook. I don't write down recipe amounts. And then people are saying, well, how much of this? How much of that? So I've sat down and figured out about how much it is. So that's about a half a cup of chopped bacon. And can you see I've spread it out in the pan? I've got it into strips, probably about 1/2 inch strips, and I've spread it around. And it's slowly cooking. I'm cutting it down to about a 3 because that's a hot burner in a hot pan. And I'm just going to kind of scatter it around. I love me some flip tongs that has a little locking mechanism in it. And then you can just unlock them and use them. And my handy dandy tip that I always tell you, put the implements that you're going to be using on a clean plate to your right if you're right-handed, to your left if you're left-handed. That way you've got a clean place to set stuff and you don't have to worry about it getting dirty, falling anywhere, because the little lip on the plate keeps it there. All right, so in here we've got the cup of chicken stock, cup of water that I brought to boil, and I whisked in the half a cup of quick cooked grits. I'm going to use my whisk again. Yup, y'all, I'm telling you, that was not too much liquid. It already has absorbed and it's getting there. So I'm going to pick that up and let you see, all you doubters. Ye of little faith. Not that you are, but I just am a little silly sometimes. And if you use one of those stone pans, cast enamel pans, do you see that? It's already absorbed up. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down some more on a level 2. Because that cast iron, once it gets in there, it actually holds heat very well. So it's going to continue to cook. And we may need to add a little bit more chicken stock or a little bit more water. Whichever one I have handy, that's what I'll use. Because at the end, I'm going to add some whipping cream mixed with milk. Or you could use half and half. I just happen to have whipping cream and I'm going to cut it with some milk. All right. This bacon is continuing to render while those grits are cooking. Okay. And this bacon is doing its thing. I'm turning one up just a little bit. Now, it's not burning on the bottom, but it's getting little bits and crispies on the bottom. That's going to be really good because we're going to take this up in a second and we're going to put our shrimp in there. And we are going to cook our shrimp behind this bacon with a little bit of butter and a little bit of olive oil too. Then we're going to take them up. This is kind of like a piecemeal kind of thing. You do a little bit, take it up. Do a little bit, take it up. You got to love the folks you're making this for. So if you're making it for yourself, love yourself. All right. Okie dokie. So we added a little bit of bacon. We're sauteing it. I'm going to talk to you about the rest of the ingredients now. I've got some andouille sausage. This is one link. It came in a pack of 2. And then I sliced it on the diagonal to make it a little bit prettier. But I have another link left. And that was just something I bought at the meat department in my local grocery store. It had 2 brands. I just picked, really they were both the same price. So I just picked the one that had the better date on it actually. Because I can use the other. And this bacon's getting quite crispy. Now, if you buy high quality bacon, sometimes it does not have a lot of fat on it. Actually, this is a brand new thing of olive oil. That's why it's not coming out. If you're not seeing a good little amount of oil come out to kind of cover your pan, and if it looks like your bacon's getting a little too, not crispy looking, but a little too black on the edges, what you can do, number 1, turn your heat down immediately. Number 2, add just a little bit of olive oil to it. Because we're going to cook our shrimp in there anyway. And I want this bacon to crisp up and look pretty for the garnish. And it imparts some flavor. You check on these grits, see if they need a little bit more liquid. And the answer is yes, ma'am. And I happen to have a little bit of chicken stock handy. So I'm going to add a little bit more to that. Probably about 1/4 of a cup. Just enough. And then I'm going to whisk that together again, because you do not want lumpy grits. The key to preventing lumpy grits is whisk those grits. Whisk, whisk, whisk. And keep the cooking liquid in there. And low and slow cook them for a good little while. So I'm doing that. And it is on very low now. I've got it on level 2. My bacon is looking fine, fine, fine. I'm going to get a paper towel and strain this bacon. It is looking pretty, pretty. It's kind of brownish slash bright, brownish slash reddish. All right, and I've just got a little thing here. I'm going to pick up this bacon and put it on this paper towel, on this little tray that I've got. Make sure I leave that bacon juice, the bacon rendering, which it ain't nothing but bacon grease. And if you don't have bacon, that's fine. Just saute the shrimp in this olive oil. We just need a hot pot or a hot skillet. I'm going to set this to the side, and that's going to be part of our garnishment along with our green onions. And what I'm going to do is turn this down a little bit. And I have the shrimp. These are beautiful medium shrimp that have been cleaned, peeled, and deveined. And of course, a good Southern woman cleans them again. And, well, I'm sure everybody does. I want my food clean. So I'm going to cook these shrimp just until they're translucent on both sides, just to get them going. Okay, we're not cooking them all the way here. We're going to put them in. And they are lovely shrimp. We are very blessed to be on the coastal area of North Carolina near Washington. And my husband drove up to Ginn Seafood, G-I-N-N-S, in Washington and got these. And they were already fixed up in lovely bags. And they were frozen, but that's okay. They were fresh, and they had cleaned them, and they had frozen. But they were already cleaned and deveined and gorgeous. And I'm just getting a pink color on these. And I'm going to show you when the veins and everything kind of turn pink, you just turn them over. And this is taking no longer than it takes me to place them in here. Okay? So once they turn pink on the other side, you're not going to put paper towel in this because you want that good juice and everything on there. So they're not quite all the way done. But you want them pretty much done because we're going to finish them off with the other. So, some people like their shrimp well done. It's a little too rubbery for me that way. So, it's up to you. I like mine just a little medium. So, I'm going to go ahead and take all these shrimp up and I'll put them up close to the camera and let you see. And they're just going to sit there on the side and they'll still continue to cook. So that's another reason it might not seem like they are done, but they are, or they will be at the end. Boop, 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 boop. Do you see that? Can you see that pretty color? Yeah, baby. All right. So now we've got all that flavor going on too. We've got everything going on there. So I'm going to add a cup of onion and a half a cup of green pepper. And we're going to saute away. We're going to cut the heat a little bit back up. There's already enough oil in there. I probably added maybe 2 tablespoons a while ago. But I'm going to cut the heat back up to medium. And I'm going to just make sure all the sides of these vegetables, which is a half a cup of onion, a half a cup of sliced green pepper. Do y'all know the secret about bell peppers or green peppers, whichever one you want to call them? The bell peppers that have the 4 points on the bottom are sweeter than the ones that have the 3. They are. And so I always make sure I look at the bottom and get if they're available, I use the ones that have the 4 points on the bottom. Of course, if it doesn't look good, I'll use the one that has the 3, but I prefer the other ones. All right, so that's on medium heat, and that's doing its thing. They're just gonna soften and render, and you reckon I am gonna get back to this recipe. All right, here we go. Grab something to write with if you want to follow me real quick. For the grits, a 1/2 cup of quick cook grits, not instant grits. They're called Quaker grits, quick 5-minute, but we're cooking them a lot longer than 5 minutes. 1 cup of chicken stock and a little bit extra if you need it. I added an extra 1/4 a while ago. I might add another 1/4. 1 cup of water, and then 1/2 and 1/2 if you have it, like 8 ounces. Just keep it on hand. We're not going to use all of that. We're just going to, it just depends on the weather and the humidity and how much your grits want to take in. I'll probably use a 1/2 cup of 1/2 and 1/2. But today I don't have any 1/2 and 1/2. So I've got some heavy whipping cream and whole milk. So I'm going to make my own 1/2 and 1/2. Which is, you know, fine. Use what you got. I live 15 to 20 minutes away from any grocery store. And out here you use to improvise. All right, so we got the grits taken care of so far. And then we had our shrimp, andouille sausage that we've got over here. We had the bacon, green onions. Oh, excuse me. We had green pepper, yellow onion. Now, when these get soft and the onions get tender enough where they are starting to get floppy and lose their color a little bit, they're turning translucent, I think is the word. How's everything where y'all are? We've got a terrible rainstorm that's set in. Since last Sunday, we have had about 7 or 8 inches of rain. Not all at once, you know, but in some downpours, but just enough to be right messy. And Randy tried to mow the grass yesterday, and oh gosh, that did not go well. But he got some of the high spots. Maybe we won't have a whole lot of snakes in the yard. God bless. But okay, so what I'm going to do now, I've got 3 cloves of garlic that I press. Now, I like a garlic press. Some people like to chop their garlic. Some people hate garlic. I got a really good friend that despises garlic. So, and if you do not have garlic cloves on hand, I highly recommend getting some roasted garlic or just granulated garlic. Not garlic powder, but it's granulated. And you can see the little granules. But once you add garlic to a hot pan, girlfriend, or young man, who's ever watching, you got to go on and stir this thing and cut the heat down and get ready to add the rest of it because that garlic will burn, okay? So we're going to take this out. And we're going to add it just on top of the shrimp. How about that? I am all for not getting any more bowls dirty than we have to, because I eventually have to wash them. Do you love to wash dishes? I have not met a whole lot of people that do. There are some people have said, I'd rather wash dishes. I'll let you cook, Michelle. And I've got a friend that lives near me that has told me that multiple times. She likes my cakes too, and pies. And all right, so I've got every little bit of that garlic out and the onions. So now we're going to heat up, basically is what we're doing, that andouille sausage that I've cut on the bias, which means diagonal, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And we're going to single layer them in that pan. Isn't it awesome to cook all this stuff in this one pan? It's a kind of a dump recipe. Dump this, dump that, cook this, cook that, take it out, put it in. It's like the hokey pokey shrimp and grits. Yes, that's what this is. Pokey pokey shrimp and grits. Wait till I tell you what goes in the grits. We're almost there. If I can get this all together. I'm going to fix my grits in a minute. But I'm going to let that cook on that side for just a few minutes so it kind of gets a little crusty on one side, like a brownish saute, I guess. A little bit of color. Hot diggity dog. It is all ready. So I'm going to flip those over. We're basically heating them through and through because they're already cooked. They mix up that sausage, then put them in tall places and cook them on racks and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't have andouille sausage, I know you got that Polska kielbasa stuff. Use that. Or if you don't like sausage at all, if you're vegan or vegetarian or something, don't use it. Maybe use sliced squash or sliced zucchini. Zucchini rounds would be good with this. Yeah. Just use your imagination. It was just my imagination. Ooh, running away with me. I better stop. Ooh, I love some music. Alright, so can you see the crusty little bits? Well, that's what you wanted to see. So what we're going to do now, you could do this with two different things, but I've got chicken stock. I don't have any good white wine right now. I don't know what happened to it. I'm just not going to say. But we're going to deglaze this pan with this in here with probably about 1/3 cup of chicken stock. Okay? And we're going to get the little bits and nooks and stuff that stuck to the bottom. And we're going to just kind of reduce that probably. I'm going to take these sausage and put them. I probably should have took sausage up first, but this is real life. Things happen. So I want to preserve some of that black, brown, dark brown, crispy crunchiness. So we're going to deglaze that. And I'm going to figure out what I missed. Can y'all tell I like M-O-T-O-W-N? I do. Old-fashioned country music from the 70s. Because that's what I listened to when I was little, when Daddy was working on stuff. He would have country music blaring. Mama loved Loretta Lynn, so I learned every song on the Loretta Lynn Coal Miner's Daughter album. And, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to add a tad little bit of lemon juice just to brighten this up. Just a little bit. I got about a tablespoon. And that just kind of takes the flavor, brightens it up a little bit. Okay? So that was about 1/3 cup of chicken stock, lemon juice. And you're getting all that goodness from all those things that you did. And you're just going to cook it down just a little bit. Just a little, not much. And you've got a stack of everything in there, you know, on there. So now we're going to turn our attention to our grits. Okay? And they are looking good. Did y'all ever, there was a show called Chico and the Man back in the day. And he would say, "Looking good." That was a funny show. I loved him. Freddie Prinze. Freddie Prinze Jr. is famous now. He's been on a lot of things. He dates somebody famous too. So I am far from famous. But I'd like to be your cooking friend here at home. So do me a favor and hit like and share and subscribe. Because you can tell I'm a real cook in a real house. And we're making real food that I'm cooking my husband for supper. So, yay, yay. All right. Let's get back to the grits. Now I'm going to salt and pepper them and add the butter and the half and half. So, a couple of turns of salt. Because it's already got chicken stock in it. You don't want to salt it too much. Okay, a little bit of black pepper. And if you don't like those things, don't use it. That's fine. I'm going to get another knife and add the butter, le beurre. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about 3 tablespoons. Let's see, on my measuring guide. That was only about 2. I'm going to add 1 more. Okay. Because I like butter. I don't know who I get that from. Who y'all reckon I get that from? But anyway, I'm going to stir that butter in those grits and let them cook just a little bit more. Where my little shrimp stuff is reducing here. And I've got this on very, very, very low. Just doing a little reduction there. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. So that pan is off. Now we're putting our attention to our grits. Now, I'm going to tell you something about shrimp and grits at restaurants. Everybody has a different recipe for shrimp and grits. And that's fine. Everybody likes different things. My husband likes soft grits, but he wants them cooked thick. Okay, me, I don't like them so thick. So it's real easy. If they're too thick, you add your liquid. If they're not thick enough, you cook them on low for a little while longer. It's that simple. Okay, so they've been cooking in here for at least 22 minutes. Okay, might be a little longer. So what I'm going to do now is make my own half and half. I don't even know if that's really a thing. But I'm going to use 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, because I use that a lot with my cakes when I'm making stuff. And then I've just got plain whole milk. Use 1/2 cup of that. Excuse me, 1/4 and 1/4 equal 1/2. So just going to mix it together. And it makes 1/4 of heavy cream, 1/4 of milk, and boom, we have our own Michelle's half and half. It might not be according to somebody else, but it's according to me. And I'm actually going to add 1/2 of that and whisk it in and put it back on the heat. And it's been on level 2 this whole entire time. It was on high to boil for the chicken stock and water. Then I added the grits. Then it was on like level 3. Then I turned it down to 2 and added the half-cocked top. Okay. Now, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of smoked Gouda cheese. It's a Gouda. Oui, oui. How many different languages have I attacked and not done well with? But anyway, even the stove is fussing at me. Let me turn it back on. All right. So, smoked Gouda is very easy to find in even the lowliest of regular supermarkets now in the small towns. It usually comes in a wrapper. It's round and it says smoked Gouda. Now, if you go to a larger town, our larger town is Greenville, North Carolina. They have a fresh market. They have delicious cheeses. You can get all kinds. But I'm putting 1/2 cup of smoked Gouda, and I'm going to put 1/2 cup of sharp cheddar. Okay? That's what I put. That's what she said. All right. So I'm just going to stir that around, and it's going to do 2 things. It's going to add impeccable flavor. It's going to put a different color to the grits, because it's going to turn it a little different color because of the cheese. And I'm going to taste of it. What you do when you're cooking is you've got to taste this stuff. Because if it doesn't taste good, there ain't no fixing it except right now. You can add stuff to it, okay? Now, what that has all helped with is making these creamy. Oh gosh, y'all, do you see how beautiful and creamy and velvety smooth these are? We're up to about 29 minutes on the video. I know this is a long one, but you've stuck with me. Okay, and I'm just mixing that all in, and they turn kind of a pale orangish yellow maybe, which are the 2 colors of the cheeses, you know, cream. All right, this is the way you taste something, and you can kind of use the same spoon over and over. You get 2 spoons. You dip with 1 spoon and put it in the tasting spoon. All right, so we're going to put this to the side on my cutting board. Needs a little bit more salt. to me. Needs a little bit more pepper. And I'm gonna go a little wild and add just a tad little bit of granulated garlic because I love garlic. And I'm going to put a little bit more smoked Gouda cheese. Okay. And stir it in. So you kind of, this is the doctrine part of it. You know, it's not an exact science. It's what tastes good to you. Some people are going to say, I don't want no darn cheese in my grits. Well, that's fine. Just cook the grits without the cheese. You saw how to do that. You can use plain water to cook your grits. You don't have to add cream. I learned that when I went to Charleston. There was this walking tour that we went on. And they let us taste shrimp and grits. Like, I've been cooking grits all my life. All my life. I've been married 32 years. The man loves my grits. I had never put cream in grits until I went down to Charleston. Love Charleston. Do a culinary food tour. Look it up on TripAdvisor and get one that's rated really well. I think that one was about $80. But you walk around to like a gazillion restaurants and you eat something, a little something every time. So by the time 2.5, 3 hours is over with, you have your steps in because you walked all over that city. And you have a history tour, a history lesson. We had a great guide. Be sure to tip your guides. And we tasted a little bit all over Charleston. And I want to do Savannah too, but every time I go eat at Miss Paula's restaurant. I hadn't tried the seafood place yet, but I'm going to. And but anyway, yeah. So that's how this Eastern North Carolina girl started putting cream in her grits. So just make it yours. If you don't like it, don't fuss about it. Darn it, just do your thing. All right, so I'm going to put all this stuff back in here, the liquid. And we're going to saute everything together and bring it back on kind of level 4, which is a low medium. And what you want is to have a little bit of liquid that pulls in with your shrimp, your sausage, and your vegetables that are going to go on top. I wish you could see this. I'm going to lift this up. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, it is amazing. Amazing, all that flavor that's layered there. And I'm going to add a little bit more chicken stock because it reduced a little bit too much while I was tending to those grits. But a little bit chicken stock, just a little. That's probably a 1/4 of a cup, maybe. So I'm just going to heat that all back together. And then we'll be ready to plate these up because I'm going to do the tasting again. I'm going to dip. See, this has never touched my mouth. I'm going to use the same spoon to retrieve onto my tasting spoon, which definitely has tasted in my mouth. Yum. Blow it, y'all. I'm a nurse. I don't want you to go to the emergency room with a burnt tongue. There's one. I've got a lot of good friends that work in the emergency room. Oh, the stories. Oh, the horrors. I never like getting pulled there. I like geriatrics, which are elderly folks, which I'm getting that way myself. Oh, gosh. Yep, that's it. That's it. That's that sweet spot. Oh, yeah, baby. All right, so where are we at in the scheme of things? We've got everything back together. We've deglazed. So now I'm just going to get my plate, and we're actually going to put this in a bowl, okay? I like a bowl because this is a perfect day for it. It's dreary and rainy and ooky. I'm going to get a bowl and plate these things up. Hold on. I'm still here, y'all. I'm going to do it 2 ways. I'm going to put it on some on a plate. Okay. Can you see our grits are thick, but yet they are creamy? And they're held together by all that cheese too. Okay. My friend Mickey said, Michelle, they were fine till you put that garlic in there. So I'm going to put a little bit of grits there. And I'm going to put some in this bowl here. And that's enough for 3 servings for us. You know, we are empty nesters. Our baby moved down to a southern part of North Carolina, almost the end of North Carolina. And we miss her. But see what you're missing, honey bun? If you come home, Mama will fix you some of this. But I'm going to keep paying your cell phone bill. As long as you text me back. Mamas, daddies, that's how you get them. When children go off to college, they won't answer your phone calls, text. The next time you talk to them, you text, okay, phone's going off. I'm calling the cellular company. And then they'll call you or text you or whatever. I'm just messing. She is wonderful. Most of the time. I used to tell her 98.67%. So, now we are going to scoop this up, and I'm going to need a ladle because it's got juice with it. A scooper duper. Alright. I'm going to lay some right in the middle, and I want to get some of that juice. You can decide how much you want, okay? And I'm going to show this to you guys in just a minute. I want to get some of all of that pretty color there. One more shrimp on top. I think that's good. All right, so can y'all see that? Now I'm going to add just a little bit of the cheeses on top, both kinds of cheeses. I'm going to add a little bit of green onion. And then some of that crispy bacon. And look at there, y'all. Look at there. We have our shrimp and grits. Okay? And it's not something you make every day, unless you want to. But, I mean, it didn't take us too long. But I like to get a little bit of that juice. And part of these shrimp are a little big for me, so I'm going to... Make your eyeballs roll up into the back of your head, friends. I'm telling you, it's the truth. Now, for those of you that like it spicier, there's this great thing at the grocery store called Cajun seasoning. I'm going to put a little bit of that, just a little bit, and stir up the rest of it because I'm going to try it a little spicier. And that little Cajun seasoning is just my trick for people who like to eat stuff just a little bit warmer. Don't use much. Do not use much. So we're going to put all this in the bowl. And this will prevent mess, you know, if you use a bowl. But anyway, I'm going to go get my husband. He has been banished while I'm making this video. So we were watching John Wayne movies. That's the perfect thing on a rainy day. Shrimp and grits and John Wayne movies. Everything's better with John Wayne. But anyway, please let me know. You can find that recipe. Click on the down arrow. The whole recipe's there. And I will add in the contingencies that I put in, including the Cajun seasoning mix, which is here. And I hope and pray that y'all have enjoyed this. I sure think it's beautiful. It is mighty tasty. Now I'm going to taste the one with a little bit of Cajun and a little piece of sausage. Oh, That's what it needed to me. I needed a little bit of a kick. I got it. It's like there on the back of your tongue. Woo. But it's not too much. So we'll see which my husband likes. God bless you. Take care. Please, please, please share my videos. Like, subscribe. If you subscribe, you can click that notification bell and you'll know when I've got another one. And I promise, most of mine are not this long. I promise. This is about as complicated, as I get. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. God bless you.